What do we know about Black Ops 7, ladies and gentlemen? We actually know quite a bit, to be honest with you. Interestingly enough, I know there are going to be some people like, Call of Duty, ever since that Microsoft took over, they're going downhill. Now, granted, look, I'm going to be honest with you. It's a video game, folks. I don't get in my feels over running shoulder to shoulder with Beavis and Butthead on one side and a bunch of other silly characters on the other. I know there's a lot of people that get angry. There are Call of Duty purists that are just like literally angry at that. Like rage possessed angry that they just added. What was that dad show with the stupid alien? Something Dad, a Great American Dad or whatever it is. It's
American Dad.
Yeah. American Dad. Yeah. There you go. He's in the game. So is the alien. Now people are running around with Beavis and Butthead. There was a whole board dedicated to smoking weed. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I don't smoke weed. I never have, and that's fine if you do. So it was uninteresting to me. But I did spend the money to get what's his name, because that's
Seth Rogen.
Seth Rogen does a stupid laugh. I love it. Who doesn't love Seth Rogen, for Christ's sake? And he's running around in Call of Duty with a freaking joint sticking out of his mouth. Come on, that's funny. Now, there are some people that get really angry at that, and if you are one of those people, I don't blame you. You want your military shooter to be like Battlefield, and Battlefield, as we've seen, is that's also something that we're going to probably talk about at some point this week. That's something big is happening with Battlefield, and a lot of purists are going to be kind of going towards Battlefield. Hopefully, Vince Zampella and team have brought that studio and that franchise back. We'll talk about that probably towards the end of the week, because there's a lot to get into Battlefield. But the one thing that you have heard, or at least I have heard in the socials, is that ever since Xbox got their claws into Call of Duty, it's not the same. It's not making as much money. There are not a lot of people playing it. Folks, look, I told you this before. I don't give a shit how much money Microsoft makes. I care less. All I care about is what they're putting in Xbox Game Pass, if they're going to raise the prices, and they have not done that yet. And what am I getting for the money that I'm spending? Well, I know that I got Call of Duty Black Ops 6. I spent $27 to get the upgrade to the $100 edition. And I'm going to be doing the same thing again for Black Ops 7. Well, interestingly enough, Black Ops 6 made $1 billion. That's right, with a B in 10 days of its release. And it is being reported. I'm reading the report right here. It comes the way of gamesindustry.biz. It is the highest grossing Call of Duty of all effing time. Now, I'm going to pause for a second. Let that sink in, ladies and gentlemen. Call of Duty Black Ops 6 that released on Xbox, PlayStation 5, and Steam is the highest grossing Call of Duty title ever. That is honestly saying something. So, Crispy Bomb, I know you're not a COD guy, and you know what's crazy? Neither was I. Like, I was like, yeah, let me play. You know who used to push me? Boom, you got to get into it. Shout out to John Wolf, Mr. Spawn himself. That's one of his main skins that he's always playing with, right? He's like, boom, you gotta play it. You're gonna love it. They got Spawn and all. Like, nah, I don't know. I played that beta and I was like, wait a second. This is pretty damn good. I haven't played Call of Duty since the Xbox 360 days. What is happening? And well, team leader 3135. I don't care about sales, brother, but it's context. That's why they went with Black Ops 7. Brother, just cool your jets there, fella. Let me just say that. Unless you want to get banned, don't be a D. I'm sorry to shout you out like that, but you know what? When you want to be a D, I'm going to put you on blast. But getting back to the story, the whole point of the numbers, Crispy Bomb, is why they went with Black Ops 7 and not something else. And obviously, I'm a big fan of the Black Ops series for single player. And my favorite in this entire series has been 2. Black Ops 2 is freaking phenomenal. And this game takes place right after well, it involves what happens in 2 and happens specifically right after 6. So you are getting you're getting a sequel that's going to go into big detail for Black Ops 2 and Black Ops 6. That is actually dope, at least in my opinion. Now, I'm going to be honest. Normally, how I've always played these games is go through the single player on normal and then try and beat it on the hardest level, and you die a gazillion times. That's not actually what happened with me in Black Ops 6. I started and played about maybe 10, 12 hours of the single player and just never went back. I honestly can't believe it. Like, I was all in on multiplayer, and I still am. And I think I am the highest prestige level you can get, and I think I just hit 90. I mean, that's. I mean, I haven't even hit 100 yet. You know, like maximum level prestige. I've seen people with numbers like 370 and 290, and I'm like, oh my god, that must be all that they play. But Crispy Bomb, opening night live is happening at the end of August. August 20th, I think it actually starts. That is Gamescom. Gamescom is one of the most attended shows each and every year. I know Kay Asante was there last year, and he said that Xbox had basically anywhere you look, there was an Xbox logo of some sorts. And he's going back this year, and we do know that not only is Xbox going to be there in a super big way, they're doing the 10th anniversary of FanFest, which is a big deal. And this game, Black Ops 7, is in fact going to be opening the show. Like the show opens up, and it's the biggest show, at least gaming show of the year. It's attended by hundreds of thousands of people. And the game that they're opening this with is, they gave Jeff a big one, was Black Ops 7. Let's get your thoughts on what we know so far. The fact that it is a direct sequel to 2 and 6. And this could be, I mean, even could it be bigger than 6 was? Get your thoughts, man.
Well, first of all, that person in the chat, you have to understand that all the stands talk about sales, especially console sales.
There you go. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So we're allowed to talk about sales. That does not mean that we give a shit if Microsoft's making money or not. I don't have stock in Microsoft. The Microsoft stock, I would have to like fold out some crypto that I'm making some superb money on right now to get any of that stock. I'm not doing it because I always see a downfall with huge companies. One of them being Sony, by the way, because I was very interested in getting their stock until all the fumbles that I've seen happen over the past year and a half. So let's clear that up, because we're not being hypocrites. We're just telling you that, you know, if Microsoft don't make money, we really don't care. We want the games. And this is one of the games that I didn't even realize was the game that it was. So when they revealed it, I was just like, is this a new IP? What is this? That being said, you have run down the exact point that I wanted to make. Not only is it the highest grossing, but it was in Game Pass. You mother truckers. My God, think about that for a second. Highest grossing Call of Duty, and it was in Game Pass. You people with your, it don't sell. I bought Helldivers. I'm already telling you, it's got over 1 million people that have bought it. And when it comes out, it's probably going to be more than that. Because you know what? The gameplay loop is interesting. And it's got us intrigued as Xbox gamers. Like, hey, we might like that. So you look at what they've done with 6, and you say, oh, I don't want to play against random characters. What have you been doing in Fortnite if you played it? Okay? You've been playing random characters inside a world. Okay, Spider-Man, God, Kratos, Master Chief, whatever, dude. Like, come on, man. This is a new age, okay? I understand this might make a place for a Battlefield to come back, okay? But that's not what they're trying to be. They're trying to be fun and engaging. And clearly they're doing that. And yeah, there's haters out there. I want everything military. We've had full-on military shooters that have been military in the multiplayer and not giving you anything but military for years, okay? I mean, we did this with Gears 5. I actually enjoyed having, the Terminator in there and stuff like that. It was an interesting part of the game, okay? Like, brought Halo characters in there, which melded with the world, but still they're not a part of the lore or anything else. So let's be honest there. Also, it's another Black Ops. So anybody that's saying that Black Ops 6 wasn't successful, why in the hell would they go back to it? And why the hell would they talk about bringing the two games that are beloved? Because 6 clearly is beloved. I'm sorry. But also Black Ops 2, bringing that story together. Okay. Now we're going to see what we see, and you can judge that as your Call of Duty eyes can see, but expect the same type of treatment. Newer characters, different genres, all these other things. This is going to happen within the multiplayer. It seems like they're going to ground the story the way the story is, and the multiplayer is going to be the multiplayer. And I'm okay with that. I've always been okay with that. Okay. So we look at the aspect of what they're doing. First of all, for Gamescom, this makes total sense because, believe it or not, Europe actually loves Call of Duty. Just telling you. So let's leave that there and understand that it's releasing on PlayStation as well. Like, we already know this, okay? So let's not act like this is just an exclusive. It's going to be on Game Pass because they already see that they've made money and they can continue. And also, every game has microtransactions, and hello world, they're going to make money off that end too. So even if you bought it in Game Pass, it might entice you to buy the new skin or whatever you want to buy. That being said, like I've always said, it's not my jam. I would love a more third person mode. Like, I want more of that. Like, you have such a large player base. Can you give something for somebody like me, that little aspect? We will see though, because all of a sudden we see all these games that weren't there. All of a sudden, Outer Worlds 2 has a third person mode. Interesting. It's one of those things, like, give these people these options. You have a lot of assets involved in the next Call of Duty game in general. Why not use some of them to allow some of us players that may not want to play first person have at least some kind of option in there some way? And I really hope I see something like that, because they continue to announce those type of things much closer to the date. So I'm really hoping there's something there, even if it's just, a mode inside the multiplayer. I might give it a shot. Okay. That's a me preference. I'm not saying that everybody else has to agree, but that mode can be for me. I mean, I've played games with 10, 15, 20 modes. Okay. And always gravitated to 5 or 6 of them, and continue to find a similar player base that enjoys those modes. So I hope for some more diversity in that aspect. Other than that, like I told you, I thought this wasn't even the game it was when it was announced. So I don't even know what to expect. And that's intriguing in itself, is it not?
Indeed. You know what? Again, I've said this before. I thought just based on what we were seeing. Because I, like you, I was ass and seat. I was watching it as it was happening with the community, and I'm like, oh my God, the Splinter Cell thing is real. They bought Splinter Cell. And then that didn't happen. I'm like, okay, fine. But then I thought, Obsidian, oh my God. I was a basket of emotions. I was like, could this be a new Alpha Protocol? Holy shit. And then it was Black Ops. And I'm like, okay, you got me. You got me. You fooled me good because I had no idea what this game was. And, we were talking, Crispy and I, Fuzzy Belvedere in chat. And please correct me if I am incorrect in saying so. I don't remember a year-to-year series that had one after another outside of Modern Warfare 2 and 3, right? Like, has there ever been a direct sequel the following year? Because you got to remember, 6 comes out. They didn't make 7. Someone said it in the chat. They didn't make 7 because 6 did well. No. It's these games have to be made years in advance. As a matter of fact, Treyarch, who is become like the guy, right? That they have become the studio. Where back in the days it used to be Infinity Ward, and Infinity Ward had its problems, whatever. But Treyarch still rules the roost. They were probably dual developing these games. They knew they wanted to go to 7 afterwards, and I don't remember anything in the series ever going direct sequel other than Modern Warfare 2 and 3. So this is again, it's going to be a big game. Just based on some of the numbers from the first one, that I think the biggest, most jarring number was the fact that Game Pass did not hurt this, and as expected, because PlayStation has such a large base. I think there was 67 or 68% of sales were on PlayStation 5 and 4. That's, if you consider there's 100, I think that the number floating around for PlayStation 4 and Pro, 117, 118. Again, if you want to be a little generous and say we don't know, say 120. That's 120 million consoles, right? Now, does that mean that everyone there is going to buy it? No. But when you equate the numbers and you say 77 million shipped PS5s and Pros, that's damn near 200 million consoles. Even at 10%, that's a lot of people playing Call of Duty, and that's where you're probably going to get most of your sales. But I'm very excited for this. I have become like a full-on Call of Duty player. Like and someone actually said it. They were Prestige 10. Like I'm Prestige 10, and I'm up. I want to say maybe a couple of hours away from hitting level 100. Like I haven't Prestige in a Call of Duty for me personally since like the Xbox 360 days. It's been a minute, and I absolutely love it. Even with the stupid skins and some of the skins that they make that are more military, the ones I like. Like I was running around as the vampire chick for weeks. She's awesome. And there's been so many of that I bought. But let's get your thoughts on this, because Black Ops 7, again, it's going to probably be the biggest seller of the year. That's not going to be a surprise. 6 was. But I think there is some serious substance to this particular one, following up of what happened on 6. And the fact that it's opening Gamescom, I think that's pretty big. Let's get your thoughts, Fuzzy.
Well, it's exciting that it's opening up Gamescom. Gamescom isn't typically where you see Call of Duty unveils or anything along those lines. So this being a new theater for them to display it, maybe there's a bigger push to see about Game Pass subscriptions in that region. That could definitely help things as far as their overall growth for Game Pass. But just the look of the game, yeah, much like you guys, I didn't think it was a Call of Duty when they were showing it. It was like, yeah, a toss up between whether it was like something like Splinter Cell or some other new title, maybe from that new Activision studio. Elsewhere, I think is what they call that studio. Yeah. So it's like, what game is this? And it winds up being Call of Duty Black Ops 7. So it's like, Yeah, that was definitely a bit of a different thing than what we were expecting as far as from the showcase and stuff. So having the new unveil, that's huge. I don't think there's ever really been a back-to-back other than Modern Warfare 2 and 3 most recently. But yeah, I think they're going to try some new things because they want to keep that game in the top 5. No matter how many haters trying to say, oh, it's worse now that Xbox and Microsoft taking it over. It still sells. Even before Microsoft was even considered to own Activision, back when they did, what was that, Infinity Wars or something like that, where basically it was the most downvoted video and they still sold 11 million copies opening day. Like, most games would just they would kill to have 11 million in opening day, or even for the entire year. That was opening day for the most hated game from Call of Duty. So yeah, I'm curious to see what this one does. Just overall, I guess the conversation once again will come up about the, how it cannibalizes sales, which, like many people understand in the chat, that's part of it. They're going to have people subscribe in Game Pass, but that gives them that reoccurring revenue, which, if you do the math, you're getting possibly more reoccurring revenue out of the customer than what they would pay to own the game outright. And it's typically that game that, the person that only buys 1 or 2 games a year, that's what they're buying. So you're not really giving up the 70 if you can convince that person to subscribe for the entire year. You're actually making like an extra 70 or actually, like, was it like 280? So yeah, you're going to be in the black by the end of it, getting them to subscribe and, maybe spend some money on the microtransactions, which that seems to be the next biggest thing that they tend to focus on. Like, with all the skins out there, especially if you're getting in Game Pass, you don't feel like you spent the 70. I mean, sure, you got the monthly aspect, but you're looking at the entire catalog of games that you have access to. So if you throw them $20 for some skins, it doesn't feel as egregious as it would if you were spending the 70 or the 100 for the Vault Edition and then spending another 20 for some more skins. So it all pans out, but I'm curious to see what this one looks like. Gamescom in general, I'm looking forward to see what Xbox is going to do, because there's still some possible surprises that we see before this year is out. We know Ninja Gaiden's coming. We know Outer Worlds 2 is coming. I know I'm forgetting a couple other titles in between, but yeah, with those being the bigger ones coming towards the later part of the year, I think we'll get another surprise before this year is out at Gamescom. But yeah, Call of Duty normally shown, I guess it's normally in September when they show it. Getting it shown at Gamescom is it's going to be a different. It's going to probably hit differently just for the fact that you'll have an earlier hype cycle for the game, and if that means that they're now pushing it, on Xbox and maybe Xbox skins. I know Phil said he wouldn't do that type of stuff where it's like exclusive content stuff, but I don't know. They've been doing it for other people's free-to-play games, so I can't imagine them being like, well, we probably shouldn't put a Halo skin in there, or we probably shouldn't have put a Gears of War skin in there. No, they're going to probably wind up doing stuff like that.
Freaking beyond. You know what's funny? The sleuths of the interwebs. We actually talked about that. I think me and you, Fuzzies, talked about this after Black Ops came out, and they data mined where Marcus Phoenix, Master Chief, and even Fallout Power Armor was supposed to be in the game. I don't know. Listen, folks, anyone from Microsoft listening, and don't throw the virtual tomatoes, folks. I don't mind spending the money on the skins. Can you put a Master Chief in the freaking? I mean, you put Spawn in the last game. My God, what are we waiting for, folks? And again, it makes sense. Like, if as we get closer to Fallout the series, they'll probably put them in there because everyone's gonna, and that's when they're gonna get the shadow drop of Fallout 3 remake or remaster, whatever you want to call it. Listen, Xbox is cooking, folks. They are cooking in 2025. Shout out to Meet the Cheater. He says, boom, Modern Warfare 2 and 3 were not back-to-back. It was Black Ops in the middle of it, Black Ops 1.
Okay.
Yeah, you know what? You're absolutely correct. Thank you for the correction, brother. I know that the remakes were later. I don't even know if they were back to back, but thank you for the correction, brother. Super appreciate that. We actually look. It's going to be a big deal. There is an event happening in September. It is going to be the annual, Call of Duty event. It's probably going to be multiplayer based, and then again, the rumor, at least the rumor that popped up over the weekend, is that it is expected. And this comes the way of Charlie Intel, who is like they're like legit. People don't like Charlie Intel, say he's a pony. That's fine. I don't know the guy. Listen, him or they break a crazy amount of Call of Duty news. That's why I like Charlie Intel. Well, they said that supposedly after the reveal, the multiplayer reveal in September, which is, of course, right after Gamescom, there is a expected beta for multiplayer Black Ops 7. I freaking can't wait. I'm going to be all in on that.